Hi, my name is Kent Arnsparger, and I wanted to put together a concise little video, hopefully, of the main differences between some of these amazing standalone pad products. The Roland SPD-SX and the alternate mode Drumkat Turbo 4.5. And I was started off as a Roland guy years ago when the Octopad 2 came out. Had one of those for years, and ran it with a Roland R8 drum machine, and then later the R8 Mark II. So that's kind of how I got started in the whole electronic drum thing. And then a few years after that, I bought a Drumkat, which replaced the Drumkat that I was using, and then added another Drumkat, and I've had mallet cats and all that kind of thing. So I've been around the block a few times with the whole electronic drum scene, and I sold my Drumkat a couple years ago because I wasn't really using it, and I don't like to hang on to gear that I'm not actively using, and I don't like it sitting around collecting dust when someone else could be using it. So I got rid of it, and then recently started playing an acoustic kit with a band. You know, because I do all my recording stuff with my Drumkat, and when do I get to play my acoustic kit out? So I went with that route. At least I thought I would. And then first gig, I'm like, man, I'd really like to be able to just trigger some hand claps or something easy right here, or maybe the keyboard part. And I started researching what's out there now. You know, of course, I knew about the Drumkat, but I found the Roland SPD-SX sampling pad. I thought, wow, this thing is pretty darn incredible. You know, if you watch the videos of Johnny Rab and all those guys doing their things with them, I thought, man, that's pretty cool. But when I got it, I pulled it out of the box, and I couldn't believe how light this thing was. I mean, there's nothing to it almost. It's all plastic. And coming from a cat background, this is all steel, and this probably weighs twice as much as this does, if not more. And of course, the Drumkat's all steel. You know, so if I were to drop this down a flight of stairs, or well, even just slip out of my hand, it might break. Where this, if I drop this thing, whatever it lands on is going to break. You know, this is probably going to be fine. So there's the build quality issue. These are made in Massachusetts, and I'm assuming Taiwan or somewhere with this. Anyway, yeah, China. So having looked at this, the main thing after I plugged it in and figured out that there really weren't that many onboard sounds, very few actually. What you see in the videos with Johnny Rab and those guys demoing it, that's really what comes with it. And that's kind of why they all do the same thing, all same type of thing. But you can download like over 1,000 songs off the Roland site. And I thought, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. But then you got to go through the entire list of sounds to find the ones that you want to drag onto the pads that instantly move it over to the USB, which is really cool and really nice. But going through 1,000 sounds, looking what you're, auditioning them, seeing what you're looking for is kind of a hassle. So then you start making your own. Okay, well, how do I get this to loop right? You know, how do I trim it exactly the way I want it to make it work on this? And that was kind of a trick. I thought, it was not as easy as I had hoped. And I come from a background also of having a EMU E6400 sampler, which I used live for several years. And I did a ton of sampling with that, really kind of knew my way around it fairly well. And now I use Contact Player and Contact 5. So I thought I knew a little something about sampling. I'm not a professional sampler or anything, but this is not the easiest thing to get around, to be honest. You're looking at the screen here, but you're using the cursors over here, trying to, well, what do I have to do? What do I have to do to get out of it? The onboard controls, these are things that you can't use when you're drumming. You have to stop drumming to reach over here and do the thing, which I suppose is probably the point. But for a DJ, it'd be better. So I thought, I'll have this next to me to trigger and all that kind of stuff. But really, just getting the sounds on it and arranged the way I wanted was really a hassle. I spent about 4 days just messing around with it. And I thought, man, this is not intuitive at all for me. And to get the loop patterns synced right was really rough. So I thought, well, if that's the case, then, maybe I could trigger my drums with it also, so I don't have to use a microphone. But the problem, of course, is there's only a couple triggers. There's 2 input triggers, which are dual input triggers. So that's cool, if you're using, like one of these things. I don't know if you can see it there, but for drum set stuff, you're really kind of at a loss for inputs. Whereas this thing, the Drumkat, of course, has a huge amount of inputs. MIDI ins, 4 MIDI outs, dedicated click out, 9 external inputs. So, 5-piece kit only goes there. You still got 4 more triggers plus a hi-hat trigger over here. So yeah, really versatile in that respect. And when you're playing this, you can play this as a drum kit and really get the stick response, where this is really not made to be set up to play like as a drum kit. They say you can, of course, and of course you could, but you know, it just doesn't really feel as well. The couple things I really do love about the SPD-SX, excuse me, I have a terrible cold, it's kind of hard to talk. I love the lights that flash when you hit the pad. So if you've got a loop going on this pad, you know to hit that pad to turn it off. You know, I dig that. I totally dig that. My lights are blowing up in here. Other than that, I'm not solely sold on it, to be honest. You know, well, okay, this doesn't have any onboard sounds. You know, how do you get them on there? So I bought this little Roland MS1. They don't even make them anymore. Sampler on eBay for like $45 or something stupid. And so I'm going to use that as my sound triggering source. The thing's really easy to set the loop points on it and the in and outs. But I was also thinking, well, what if I bought a used MacBook Air, okay, and ran Logic, which I already own, in the main stage, and use that as my sample base, or Contact. You know, all those different things that I already own. Addictive Drums, I already own, you know, hundreds of dollars of software on that, which I imported some of those sounds to here just to mess with it. And you know, the 25-note polyphony runs out quick. I was like, okay, well, we've got 2 gigs of internal memory on here for sampling, and yet the polyphony is 25. What year is it? You know, RAM is, I got 16 gigs of RAM on my iMac for under $100, and you're telling me that's all they can do with this. Just 25 notes of polyphony. I don't know, maybe I'm missing the boat. Whatever. So, you know, I think for me, looking online when I was trying to buy this thing, you know, I was only seeing the same videos over and over and over. And there were no comparison videos. And I think the Yamaha DXT 12 was a kind of a cool little thing. I like the ability to play with your fingers on it, because I play a lot of hand percussion too in different venues. But then, you know, or you get the hand sonic at that stage. So there's all these different devices out there, and they all do different things, but none of them seem to do everything. Not yet, anyway. You know, you can get a turbo cat with sounds in it, dedicated in it, which is really remarkable, for like $1,200 now. But you can't run your own samples into it. Okay, fair enough. So you'd still have to have an external sound source if you want to run any samples. So, you know, this is still not the end-all thing, even with the sound device in it, which this one does not have. You know, this one is in great shape, and I picked it up on eBay just the other day for, with shipping, I think it was $450. I mean, that's incredibly great price. This thing I bought used on eBay a few weeks ago, and it was just under $600. So, you know, more expensive, arguably does more. But for this and that little MS1 sampler I bought is still cheaper than this. And I feel like I can really use this in a lot more different ways. I could use this just as a controller, as my drum set in a really small, tiny place, because I've done it before. This, I tried doing it a little bit, and it was just no way it was going to work. So, you know, this in conjunction with the Drumkat, wow, you can really do a lot of things, you know. But whatever you're really looking for, you know, whatever your easeability is as far as using this compared to this. You know, this is the ultimate controller. You can stack 128 notes on one pad and just go through it. Or you can do big chord things. Velocity sensitive velocity layering, which you could do on the, I think the original Octopad could do that in the late 80s. This you can't do that with. You can stack 2 notes on top of each other, and that's how they're going to play. That's as much as you can do with this. Again, I'm just kind of like scratching my head going, really? You know, you could layer 3 pads on the velocity. You could step through them, or you could build on them, or you could, you know, stack them all at once on the Octopad too. Though the original one that I had, and you can't do that anymore on this. I thought, well, okay. Again, maybe I didn't really know what I needed comparable to what these things have to offer. So I think that's key. If you don't know what you need, then you have no idea what you have to buy. You know, between the Yamaha, this and that, and even the little Alesis, the 4-pad thing that's, you know, under $200, and it has a little USB thing on the back for your own sounds. I mean, that's really cool. And if that's all you need, man, I would get that, to be honest. But like I said, I wanted more. I wanted to be able to trigger drums or use it as a dedicated kit. So Anyway, there's a lot I don't know about this, and I'm sorry if you completely disagree with me and say you're missing the boat on this thing. Well, yeah, clearly I am, because I'm just not getting it. So hope this video helps you if you're trying to decide between some of these units. You know, the nice thing about the turbo and anything that alternate mode makes, you can call them and talk to the owner of the company any day of the week. You know, the guy who does all the software. You know, it's a small company. They make just incredible products, and they're really, really dedicated, you know, to doing this. They're musicians. They use them out all the time. And I've owned many of their products, and I've owned a few of the Rolands too. And I've always been happy with the Roland gear. You know, except for the build quality of all their stuff. It's not really roadworthy in my opinion, but this stuff, wow, it's crazy. All right. Thanks for listening to my terrible stuffed up nose. Take care.